If it's Monday night, oh yes it is, the Wrestling Forum. Hello friends, it's Ridiculously Over Anthony Fleury here with you for another exciting edition of the Wrestling Forum. I am joined by the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher. We got the Phenom, Michael Bullock, coming in a little bit late. He's out tonight, so we'll join him. Hopefully he'll join us in a little bit. So let's not waste any time. Let's dive right into this very exciting show tonight. And I'll tell you what, this show was much better than what we've previously seen over the last few weeks. So I'll tell you that right now. So. All right. Raw was live tonight from the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California on the USA Network. Dr. Phil was the special guest. We'll get to him in a little bit. And I'll tell you what, he was actually useful. I can't believe I'm saying that, but he was useful. So usually these guest stars are usually unnecessary and whatnot. But this time around, he was not as useless as most of them were. And I'm going to give him credit. So we'll get to him later. But for right now, we're going to start it off with Shane O'Mac. Shane McMahon comes out, and of course, there was a tweet that came out today saying that due to overwhelming support on social media, Shane McMahon was going to be granted the authority over Monday Night Raw tonight. So much to the delight of all of us here, and of course, mainly the IWC. Shane McMahon gets to run the show again, and he comes out and basically, he sets the agenda. And what an agenda he sets for us. I mean, first off, he announces that Natalya would challenge Charlotte for the WWE Women's Championship. And then from there, he also hyped that there was going to be a number one contenders tag team tournament, and the winners will go on to face the New Day. We'll get to that in a little bit. We got the bracket for you. We're going to get to that. And then he congratulates AJ Styles on earning the right to face Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. He announced that match will go down at Payback on May 1st in Chicago. And then he announced that he said that due to what happened last week, Kevin Owens taking out Sami Zayn. He says, hey, Sami Zayn, you deserve another opportunity. So what you're going to do is you're going to face AJ Styles. And if you win, then you get added to that match with Reigns and Styles, and it becomes a triple threat match at Payback. But then Kevin Owens makes his way down. Kevin Owens says it's a good thing that this might be Shane's last night, because Shane may have knocked a few screws loose during his WrestleMania match if he thinks Shane deserves an opportunity. Owens joined Shane, and then Shane said Owens screwed over Zayn on Monday and lost during his opportunity in the four-way, just as he lost at WrestleMania. And Owens says he was robbed by Zayn at what he calls KO Mania, and he was robbed again on Raw. Owens said it's not fair that he has yet to receive his rematch for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. And then Owens demanded his rematch. Shane said, demands are not how things work here. He said, hey, you know what? This may be my last night, but Owens, you got to earn your shot at the IC title. So Shane says, you know what, Owens? You got to beat one man. And that man has been here running around all day since 2:30 in the afternoon. And he announced that his opponent in this contenders match would be none other than the returning Swiss Superman himself, Cesaro, and 2-for-1 deal. We get to go right into that match. So the match, Cesaro versus Kevin Owens, number one contender match, Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. Winner of the match, unfortunately, I don't have a time of the fall, but it was Cesaro who wins the match. Oh my Lord. Double indemnity in a good way. I mean, this was, bang for our buck here. We got double our money's worth in two great segments. I mean, the opening segment here, I probably would have to say maybe the segment of the night here, because it was a very good opening segment with some fresh faces in Shane O'Mac and Kevin Owens. And it was also worth noting that Owens is the one who started the talk that this could be Shane's last appearance. Shane did not deny it when he responded. It may end up being his last appearance, but we also wonder if they're just renting him out temporarily, since they're going to be going, overseas, and won't be back in the States until 2 weeks from tonight, April 25th, when it comes to Hartford, Connecticut at the Elite XL Center, formerly the Hartford Civic Center. McMahon Country, by the way, Connecticut, Stamford, they're right up the road from Stamford, Connecticut, where the headquarters are located. But other than that, a very good opening segment. I could say it was the segment of the night as far as I'm concerned. Now, as far as Cesaro and Owens goes, up until a certain match later in the evening, for the longest time, I had this pegged as the fight of the night. But I got to say, by a smidge, this was the second best fight of the night. By a smidge now. Second best fight of the night. I'm going to give it a solid 4 stars, teetering on 4.25 for the effort. I could say this was the best Cesaro Owens match I saw, and I could say it was even better than the SummerSlam match last summer in Brooklyn. So I mean, and it was definitely as we expected. It was be a man fight, and that's exactly what we got here. It was hard hitting, it was smash mouth, it was physical, great near falls throughout, Shakespearean drama at its finest. A very strong match with Cesaro, of course, doing a nice job of selling the shoulder injury because he had the rotator cuff, and then from there, I mean, a very enjoyable match that sets up Cesaro going up against The Miz, and it frees up Kevin Owens for, a very likely match with a certain someone. We'll get into that later, but boy howdy, I mean, Cesaro now the new number one contender for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. So I just got sidetracked for a moment because I was focusing so much on my notes that I just noticed that we're being joined, of course, by our two special guests, the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson and the Hardcore Queen Lexi Calloway. Welcome to you, ladies. We'll get to your thoughts in a moment, and of course the Phenom will be on his way shortly, hopefully. So, and when he comes in, we'll catch him up. That's how we always do it here. So, all right. So with all that being said. The segment was the segment of the night. Well done with Shane O'Mac and Kevin Owens. I love the interaction. And then, of course, as great as that segment was, we ended up getting an equally great match with Cesaro and Owens. I can only say it was the second best fight of the night because I thought there was one match that was just a smidgen better. So it's a solid 4, maybe 4.25 stars at the absolute best. So with all that being said, I'm going to throw it up now to my partner in crime here, the Cerebral Viper, Michael Fletcher, until Bullet gets in. So, MF, it's all yours. Fletcher, you having mic issues there? It seems like his mic is on, but I can't hear him, so I don't know what's going on. He's probably having some audio issues. So I want to bring in the Twisted Angel, Didi Woodson here. I'm going to improvise here. Didi Woodson, I want to get your thoughts on this. The opening segment with Shane O'Mac and Kevin Owens, as well as Kevin Owens against Cesaro. I mean, both segments in my mind were must-see television, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah. I was telling Mikey earlier that it was a really good segment, really good first match. Awesome beginning for Raw. As for rating the actual match, I'd probably go 3.5 to 4 stars.
All right. Not sure if Didi Woodson's having issues on her end, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Okay, Michael Fletcher. Okay, we got Fletch back in. So Fletch, if your issues are all worked out, I'd like to get your. I just had Didi Woodson share her thoughts to improvise. So your thoughts on that opening segment, as well as the Owens and Cesaro fight, and then after you're done, throw it up to Lexi if you would.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry about that, guys. I don't know. First off, I apologize. I thought everything was going fine, and then I guess it just kind of went a little wayward there. I don't know what had happened, but at the end of the day, yeah, I totally agree. Just to start off Monday Night Raw was a red hot start. Shane McMahon comes out, cuts a very good promo. Thanking the WWE Universe as always for the love and the support. And if it wasn't for them, absolutely going absolutely bonkers the way they did, who knows what we would have seen. But it was just a great moment, just a great way to start, and then to follow that up with a tremendous match between Kevin Owens and Antonio Cesaro. I mean, this is what we expected to be the Swiss Superman versus Fight Owens fight, and these guys went at it. They went tooth and nail. To me, I'm in the between of the 3.5 to 4 star range. This was definitely the second best fight of the night, and this fight was absolutely phenomenal. It was back and forth. They went straight tooth and nail for it. Cesaro wins the match. He is now the new #1 contender for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. I guess we'll wait and see what happens there. I think this is definitely one of the top fights of the night, and this is a red-hot start to Monday Night Raw. So with that said, I'll give it to Lexi Calloway. So Lexi, it's all yours right here.
All right. The opening segment was amazing, in my opinion. I got to give it to Shane. He's really starting to do some major business around there. That going into the Cesaro fight, considering I understand all about the shoulder injury thing, oh my goodness. Cesaro was on fire. I feel for him. I know his arm must be hurting him. I give it a 3 out of 5 because, like we've said, there's another match later that ranks a lot higher on the scale. And with that, I turn it over to everyone else.
Well, we're going to turn it over to the Phenom Michael Bullock, who has just joined us, Lex. So Michael Bullock, perfect timing. I mean, you didn't miss much. I mean, you know, it's our usual 2-for-1 opening segments. So Michael Bullock, I want to bring you in now. Your thoughts on the segment with Shane McMahon interrupted by Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens against Cesaro for the #1 contendership to the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. So, Phenom, Michael Bullock, front and center, if you would.
All right, thank you very much, ridiculously over Anthony Florio. Yes, this is the Phenom Mike Bullock here for another edition of Wrestling Forum. Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, I thought the opening segment with Shane McMahon, I mean, I thought it was good for what it was. I mean, he definitely, I thought he's done a really good job as taking control of Monday Night Raw. I mean, he basically said, you know what, we're going to have a tag team tournament tonight where starting tonight, and the winners will face the New Day. And then we'll have Charlotte defending the women's championship against Natalya, and AJ Styles would face Sami Zayn tonight. And if Sami Zayn wins, he gets added to the WWE World Heavyweight title match at Payback, which would then be a triple threat match. And this obviously brought out Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens was not too happy with Shane McMahon's decision. And Owens was like, you know what? Sami Zayn doesn't deserve a shot at the title. And he says, you know what, Shane? You knocked a few screws loose when you jumped off that Hell in a Cell. He says, you know what? I feel screwed over, but Shane McMahon was basically like, no, you screwed Sami Zayn at becoming the #1 contender. He says, you know what? I deserve a rematch for the Intercontinental titles. So he says, you know what? You're going to have to earn it, because you're going to be facing the Swiss Superman Cesaro. So, yeah. So I thought the segment was good. And what was the time of the fall, Florio?
Unfortunately, I don't have a time of the fall. It was not included.
Oh, all right. I thought it did, but yeah, but from excuse me for just a minute here. As a matter of fact, I actually do have the time of the fall, Florio, on the 411. It was 14 minutes and 50 seconds.
Felt longer than that to me, but okay.
Well, I'm only going with because I'm going by the 411 Mania.
Of course. So
Yeah. So, but if it did go longer, but either way, I'm gonna go 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. I mean, I thought the match here was very good for what it was, and of course we know the body of work of both of these men. Yeah, so definitely a great way to start off the show. Cesaro he gets the win with the neutralizer, and let's just say, well, the Cesaro section, which I am so happy to be a proud member of, went nuts when he won the match, and now he's going to get a shot at Miz's Intercontinental Championship. So 3.5 to 3 3/4 of a star. So with that being said, Florio, I say we move on.
Yep, and that's it, Bullet. That's all. I mean, that's all we've done. So, yeah. So, all right. And then there were a couple of backstage moments there. The Dr. Phil segment with Charlotte and Ric Flair, which I thought was very good, and then another great interaction with Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon. That was well done. So, we usually don't do that. So, all right. Now we have. All Los Angeles, don't you dare be sour. Clap for your world-famous two-time champs and feel the power. You know what that means. It's a new
day time!
It's a new day. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And New Day come out, the tag team champions, 232 days, by the way, since, of course, SummerSlam when they won that triple threat match last year against the Usos and the Luchas, as everybody remembers. They came out, cut their usual promo, and now we have the brackets. We have the brackets for the Tag Team Championship #1 Contenders Tournament, and it is as follows. The Usos going up against two members of the Social Outcasts, Heath Slater and Curtis Axel. The newly formed Golden Truth, Goldust and R-Truth, will be going up against Aiden English and Simon Gotch, better known as the Vaudevillains. Straight out of NXT, you're going to love this. Enzo Amore and Big Cass, Colin Cassidy, they're going to be going up against Connor and Victor of the Ascension. And finally, Sin Cara and the United States Heavyweight Champion Kalisto, known as the Lucha Dragons, going up against the most decorated tag team of all time, Bubba Ray and Devon, those damn Dudleys. And we started it off with those damn Dudleys going up against the Luchas. That's the first match of the tag team title tournament. Winners of the match in an even 3 minutes to advance to the semifinals. Those damn Dudleys via the 3D on Sin Cara. If you noticed, Sin Cara, Kalisto was got it pretty banged up during this match. So read into that what you will. So Michael Bullock, Phenom, we start you off. Your thoughts on those damn Dudleys going over the Luchas in about 3 minutes?
Oh, was it me?
Yeah, you're up, Bullock.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that. I was a little bit off there, but yeah. Unfortunately, it was just too short for my liking. I'm going to say probably about half to 1 star. The action was fine, but it was just way too short for my liking. But I can understand it with it being this was the beginning of this tournament. So yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. I'd say somewhere between half to 1, but I'm leaning more towards a half a star in my personal opinion. So that's all I can say is, Fletch, I give it to you.
Yeah, there wasn't that many disappointing fights here tonight on Monday Night Raw. I think we can all agree with that, but this was one that actually did disappoint. I was expecting something better, even though during the fight, it looked like Kalisto actually did suffer a legit injury. Me and Dee Whitson kind of were chatting briefly on our Facebook chat, and she kind of noticed that Kalisto was down. I noticed it as well. We didn't know if this was a work, if it was legit. I'm sensing it might have been a work reason. I don't know for sure. I think we'll probably find out later in the night unless WWE posts something or we find out something via the dirt sheet later this evening if this was a legit injury or whatnot. But whatever the case may be, it is what it is. But if you notice at the end, when the Dudleys were provoking and doing their victory, Enzo Amore and Big Cass decided to say hello to the great fans of the City of Angels in Los Angeles, California. So they decided to show up and let's just say have a little fun with those damn Dudleys. You know, the Dudley boys were not impressed. Basically, they're like, do you know who we are? You know, if it wasn't for us, you guys wouldn't be in the tag team division. And Enzo basically shot back. He's like, one problem. I actually came out from my mommy and daddy. I didn't come from you guys. So I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. I'll hit you slop jalops and everything else. But one thing's for sure. There's one thing to describe you, and I'll spell it out for you. SAWFT. Soft. I don't know who goes next. Anybody wants it, take it.
Oh man, how in the world do I follow that? Oh boy. Clearly we've got some Enzo and Big Cass fans here. That's all there is to say about that. But then again, there was definitely a bit of some IWC crowd, a bit of an IWC crowd in Los Angeles. So, oh yeah, they definitely got into that. You can't teach that. So, all right. As far as the fight goes, half to 1 star. I agree with you. It's the second worst fight of the night. There was one that was worse, honestly, but yeah, one of the few disappointments as far as lowlights go on this edition of Monday Night Raw tonight. So, real quick, I want to get a thought. I want to get a quick thought from the ladies, Dee Woodson and Lexi Calloway. Ladies, your thoughts on those damn Dudleys against the Luchas? Whoever wants to jump in can jump in.
I thought it was a pretty fair fight, but yeah, I agree. It was short and not as much action as you would have expected. I did tell Fletcher earlier that New Day with their twerking, that's kind of gone out of style. They kind of need to get out of that now. It's getting old. Having teenagers, I can actually say that. And the segment after it, that was just really good bantering back and forth. I would agree this was probably 1 to 1 stars.
All right. I don't know. I don't know
Any thoughts, Lexi?
Yeah. Any you wanna chip in with your thoughts?
I'm already really tired of New Day, to be honest. This is only like the 3rd or 4th time I've really paid attention to them, and I'm just like, come on, guys, I know y'all can do better than this. And I was just sitting there going, ugh. So like, I'm probably gonna say like 1.5.
Okay, 1.5 stars, you say, for the fight. Okay, that's fair enough. So, all right. So with all that being said, let's Kalisto took a wild bump on the floor and then got up and took a clothesline from Devon. Trainer checked his shoulder, and so who knows? Maybe it might have been one of those rushed finishes. I mean, we've seen this before. So, all right. Well, much to the chagrin of the IWC crowd in Los Angeles, we had the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns coming out. He came out and cut a promo. And then he was interrupted by, of all folks, the League of Nations. I mean, it's been a few months since, they've had their interaction. Sheamus, Rusev, and Del Rio, of course, the new League of Nations, sans King Barrett. Of course, Barrett gone, as we all know. And then, Rusev said he's stronger and better looking than Reigns and said he should be the face of the company. And then Sheamus cuts his usual promo and everything else in Del Rio. And then all of a sudden, the Wyatt family shows up. And then all of a sudden, Shane McMahon, he comes out and tells them to hang on for 1 second. And he's like, he never thought he would see them fighting side by side, and he digs it. So Shane says, tonight in our main event, 2 members of League of Nations are going to go up against the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns and his partner, Bray Wyatt. Whoa. Oh, wow. Michael Fletcher, Cerebral Viper, what do you make of that?
This was the biggest WTF moment of the night. I wish I could say it out loud, but I won't because, I'd rather be professional about it. But this had a lot of people running for the computers and, typing away and saying, Shane, what are you doing? Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns don't get along. They don't trust each other. They don't like each other. But here's the one common enemy. They don't like the League of Nations either. So something's going to have to give tonight. Is it going to be one of those situations where, you have like an Ultimate Warrior Hulk Hogan where they can coexist, but there's going to be a little bit of some infighting? Or will it be one of those situations where, not only is they can't get along, they just decide, what the heck with it, let's just throw fisticuffs. It was an interesting dilemma, an interesting situation. What really made it really good was, the everybody who was involved in it. Now, of course, they want to make Roman Reigns strong as world champion, but you don't know what type of champion they're going to make Roman. You don't know if he's going to be a good guy, if he's going to be a bad guy. Of course, he's getting booed out of the building because, IWC crowd in LA, but it seems like Roman's embracing that tweener role. He's saying it. I'm not a good guy. I'm not a bad guy. I'm just the guy. So you kind of sense they're trying to mix him as a tweener. So he's basically in between both realms. League of Nations is coming out trying to play the good guy side, trying to rub on the good guy side of Roman Reigns, and the next thing you know, you have Bray Wyatt of all people. The Wyatts showing up. What on earth? And that had a lot of people wondering what is really going on. Now everybody knows the Shield and the Wyatt family had like one heck of a war about a couple of years ago when these two teams got it on. I mean, it was like nuclear warfare. It was like World War III had broken out. It was beautiful. So what are we going to see in the near future? Who knows? But as far as tonight goes, Shane McMahon was like, wait a minute, hold on. Let's do this as a main event tonight. Two members of the League of Nations versus Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns. And you kind of sense that, and I'll even steal a line from Gorilla Monsoon. You could cut the anticipation with a knife. It's one of those moments. So with that said, whoever wants to take it, Anthony, I guess you'll take it up, Anthony, and it's yours.
Yeah. It's like we always do, Fletch. It's me, you, and it's me, Bullock, then you, and then we'll throw Didi and Lexi in there. So, yeah. So, but anywho, second best segment of the night here. I mean, I only like that Shane and Owen segment a little bit better. Keyword again by a smidge, and that's definitely one way they should have just hyped for later tonight. I mean, instead of telling people it's the main event. I mean, sure, the question of whether Wyatt and Reigns can coexist made it a little more interesting, but it was impossible to be excited about a main event that involves the League of Nations because, as we all know, League of Nations, in many people's eyes, including most of us in the IWC, is as stale as moldy bread, as everybody knows. So, and it doesn't help that Roman wasn't the least bit intimidated by the League of Nations, despite being outnumbered, and the Wyatts cleared them from the ring with ease. And so that's that. So that's the only small gripe I have about it. But other than that, it's the second best segment of the night, and it's set up a very interesting main event. So so with all that being said, second best segment for me. So Phenom, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, this was the second best segment of the night. I mean, I thought everybody played their parts well. I mean, Roman Reigns, I mean, we knew he was going to get booed, but once again, I mean, he basically was good on the mic here, and basically, once again, is saying, you know what, I am the guy, and then all of a sudden, well, the League of Nations come out, and basically, Sheamus is like, you know what, Reigns, you should be nervous. We took out Barrett, and now we're stronger than ever. And they're basically saying, you know what? Me and Rusev, we're not happy about not getting a shot at the title. and basically all three of them hit the ring, and then all of a sudden the Wyatts of all the people come out, and they have a stare down. And then out comes Shane McMahon, and he basically says, "You know what? I like what I see here." So in the main event, it'll be Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt against two members of the League of Nations. So that is something very interesting here. So how would it go? How would these two teams how would they coexist? Well, we're gonna have to wait and find out. So to me, this was the second best segment of the night. So basically, let's see if the Dee Dee and Lexi if they want to share their thoughts on it. So I guess we're gonna start with Dee Dee.
Open forum, as you know.
Hey, I'd say it was a really good segment. I know I personally enjoyed it a lot, so not going to add too much more to what you all said. You guys kind of nailed it.
All right, so Lexi, if you want to share a quick thought, feel free. You don't have to. If you want to, go ahead.
I totally agree with y'all. That's about all I can really say on it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So, okay. With all that said, let's move on. Now we're gonna get back into the fun stuff here. The WWE Women's Championship on the line. We had Charlotte with of course her two-time Hall of Fame father Ric Flair in her corner, defending with her first notable title defense against someone she knows very well, Natalya. Again, I don't have a time of the fall. I'm hoping that Bullock or Fletch can get me the time of the fall via the 411 Mania.
I actually have it for you.
All right, what do you have?
What I have here via the 411 Mania, Natalya defeats Charlotte via disqualification in 11 minutes and 5 seconds.
Yep, you heard Michael Bullock. Time of the fall, 11 minutes and 5 seconds. Winner of the bout via a disqualification. It is Natalya, of course, because of outside interference from Ric Flair. Pulled referee Brian Wynn from the ring just as Charlotte was tapping out to Natalya's sharpshooter. So there's the end for that. So I believe I start this off. So third best fight of the night for me. This is as paint by numbers as it gets here. I'm going to rate it between 2.5 and 3 stars. I thought this was another great match between two ladies who know how to work together. I mean, we've seen some of their classic bouts from NXT and then of course in the WWE. I mean, of course, that match they had for the Women's Championship in NXT, the inaugural Women's Championship, that tournament final, where Bret Hart and Ric Flair were in attendance to be in their respective corners. I mean, that was far and away their best match. And then, of course, they had that awesome match at the Roadblock event during the Road to WrestleMania in Toronto last month, which was I would say their best WWE match. But unfortunately, we have a disqualification finish. I mean, normally we frown upon disqualification finishes, but in this case, we're not going to do that. I mean, I think this was necessary and warranted here because I think it's very clear as day that they want to have a Charlotte and Natalya feud for the Women's Championship, which I am more than okay with because I love both of these girls to death. I mean, of course, the love affair I have with Charlotte, obviously, not just because of her father, but just because of who she is and what she does, and the same can be said for Natalya. I mean, mainly because, as you all know, I am the biggest Hart family mark that there is. I mean, I could tell you stories about the Hart family, but that's another video waiting to happen. So, but yes, this was another fun match between. I mean, these two just work so darn well together, and I just love the chemistry that they have. And I'll tell you what. I mean, this is a personal, selfish wish of mine, but I'll take 7. I'll take 7 matches between those two. I mean, I'll take 7 between those two, please. Absolutely. I'll take 7 of those any day of the week. Give me a best of 7 series to prove who is the best in the women's division. Yes, please, I will take that. But that's just a personal, selfish wish of mine. There's going to be a rematch at the earliest possible date, and I think that earliest possible date is going to be May the 1st in Chicago, Illinois, the IWC capital of the world, don't you know? When we have a little event called Payback, that's when we're going to get a rematch between those two, and then we'll see what happens from there. I mean, as much as I love Charlotte, and I really want to see Natalya get her moment in the sun because, she's been cast aside and overlooked for far too long. It's a damn shame, that's just how I feel about it. Not just because of my love for the Hart family, but it's true. I mean, Natalya has worked her you-know-what off for the last, 7 or 8 years since she debuted. I mean, it was 8 years ago, or right around this time, 8 years ago, she made her debut in the WWE on a SmackDown when they paired her with Victoria, aka Tara, in TNA. I mean, and how fun were they to watch? I mean, let's not kid ourselves. But I'll tell you what. I mean, she had a reign as Divas champion back when that title was around. That Bling Bling Sideshow belt that was around back in 2010. Survivor Series. She beats Michelle McCool and Layla in a handicap match, and then only holds it 2 months at the Royal Rumble to have her drop it in controversial 4-way fashion, to Eve Torres and all that stuff. So, yeah, and she hasn't had a snuff of that title since, and I got a problem with that, a big problem with that. So,
Yeah, same
Charlotte,
here.
yeah.
Same here, Florio. But as Bad News Barrett would say, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Yes,
I
yes.
think Charlotte's gonna remain the women's champion.
Yeah, she's definitely going to remain the
Even
women's
if they have
champion.
another match.
Yeah, she's definitely going to remain. I think once we get to Payback, Charlotte's going to go over decisively. There's no question about that.
I believe me, I want to see Natalya get that women's title too. Believe me, but as long as Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn are running the show, that ain't gonna happen.
Never going to happen. As much as we want to see it. I mean, Natalya, not just a favorite from all of us, but also a favorite of the IWC as well. She's an IWC darling. Everybody knows that. I mean, they appreciate her efforts as well as I do. I mean, because of, the Hart family legacy, and I want to see another chapter of that legacy added. So that's just my selfish wish. So give me. I mean, if they gave us like a best of 7 between those two, I'd watch that all day. Believe me. So all right. So with that being said, 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating. It's the third best fight of the night on my end, and there's definitely gonna be a rematch. It's gonna be at Payback, and that felt good to get off my chest. So with all that being said, Phenom, Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts on the bout.
Yeah, I do agree. 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating as well. Yeah, the action was good for what it was, and yeah, I didn't like the cop-out finish. I would have loved to see these two go a little bit longer, and who knows, maybe we could have given it a higher rating. But I do agree with Anthony. I think the cop-out finish was necessary because we know we're going to get another match between the two at Payback. You know that for sure for the Women's Championship, and as I've already stated, as much as I want to see Natalya win the championship, I don't think it's going to happen. Charlotte's going to retain that title, and don't get me wrong. I want to see Natalya win it. And at least get a little hold of that women's title. But as I stated, as long as Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn are running the show, that's not happening anytime soon. So I definitely. And you're forgetting something else, Florio. You're forgetting about the match they had at NXT TakeOver, the first ever NXT TakeOver, and that match. No,
I mentioned that.
Oh, you did. All right, I'm sorry. I thought you didn't, but yeah. So all right. So forget what I just said. So 2.5 to 3 stars. With that being said, I'm just gonna toss it to Fletch.
Yeah, great match. It's solid battle, and it was back and forth. I loved everything about it. Me and Dee Dee Woodson, again on Facebook chat, just absolutely loving how the match was going down. And then the ending was, oh my god. I mean, this would have been the Michael Fletcher towel over the face. I would have been like, oh my freaking god, are you kidding me? You had to pull that card out on us? Really? We were bent. I mean, I don't even know how bent I was. I know Dee Dee Woodson said, she's like, I was loving this fight. This was a great match. I know she'll say it. She's like, I just hated the ending. But can we tolerate it? Okay, fine. I guess we can let it slide this one time. But WWE, you guys have done this to us so many times on so many different levels. I just don't know how to explain it one time after another. But at the end, it is what it is. All right, fine, whatever. But damn, this was a great match, but major letdown at the end. So with that said, yeah, I agree with you guys. 2.5 to 3 stars is the rating because this was a great match, but God, ending just left a bitter taste in my mouth, and I was not happy at all. But it is what it is.
Indeed, it is, MF. So this is definitely a great time to get Dee Dee and Lexi back in. I mean, ladies, I know how much you've been clamoring for a change in the women's division, and obviously, over the last few weeks, we've gotten that change that we've all desperately been wanting for so many years. After too many years of typical ho-hum diva fights, and total diva showcase matches, unnecessary, by the way. So, Dee Dee Woodson, Lexi Calloway, I would really love to hear your thoughts about this phenomenal match between two world-class athletes. So, whoever wants to jump in, open forum.
Let me just start by saying I love both Charlotte and Natalya for totally different reasons. Well, we do have both of them from rather famous wrestling families. I don't think either one of them are genetically superior to each other at any means. I think they're both on the level playing field. I am kind of, while it is the Flair nature, I am kind of sick of seeing Charlotte win because of what her daddy decides to do. As Dr. Phil told her himself, you need to stand on your own 2 feet. If you're going to live off your family's name, you're never going to be respected as a legit entertainer or a sports star or any kind of entertainment industry. You're never going to be taken seriously. And while I am so glad to see some women who actually want to get in that ring, I am greatly, greatly displeased with the way that they're doing Charlotte, considering that from what I've been reading on Charlotte, she's doing this to honor David. And I'm not seeing any kind of honoring whatsoever. It's basically just running the Flair name into the ground. That being said, I really, really, really want to see Natalya with the title.
Amen. I agree with you 100%. We all do. I've said it before. She's been overlooked. She's been cast aside and overlooked like so many folks in the world. Not just on the women's side, but on the men's side too. So, we could run down a list, but we'd be here all night. So Dee Dee Woodson, come on in. I want to get your thoughts. Dee Dee Woodson. Do you agree with what Lexi said about how this match went down, or feel free to share some of your thoughts, like Lexi just did?
Double palm face. I am so tired of the cop-out finishes. I'm tired of Flair butting in where he doesn't belong. The Dr. Phil segment I liked really well, and I certainly agree with everything he said. Charlotte does need to step up, prove that she is the right person to hold that title, and not have her daddy come out and pretty much hand over the win to her. It's just ridiculous. Natalya did deserve the win that she got, but I wish it was under better circumstances, because like I told Fletch, the match was awesome until you get to that ending, and I'm to the point to where I'm sick and tired of cop-out endings, and I give it the double palm face, and I'm going to even rate this lower than you guys. I'm going to go two stars because of the ending.
Fair enough, Didi Woodson.
That's it.
Fair enough. So, yeah, you do the double palm face. You know, Fletcher does the double palm face. Of course, there are those times where Michael Bullock will do his infamous "I can't take it" face, as you've seen many times before. So, yeah. So, yeah, there's no question about it. And, but I'll tell you what. I mean, usually when we hear about guest hosts or guest celebrities being a part of a Monday Night Raw, we always usually like, oh no, don't, oh god, this is gonna be, oh no, this is gonna be brutal. It's gonna be nothing but campy comedy, bull funky nonsense. But I will admit, Dr. Phil was actually useful. He was actually useful. I can't believe I'm saying that, but he was actually useful. So, well done. Well done. That's all I can say about that. So I'll give the good doctor his word. So well done. Fletch, you wanted to jump in? All right. Okay. So that's that. So with that said, let's move on. And we move on to our second tag team tournament match from the first round. We got Jimmy and Jay, the Usos, going up against Social Outcast members Heath Slater and Curtis Axel. Winners of the bout in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. It is the Usos via a roll-up. But wait, there's more. Ladies and gentlemen, guess who made their debut in the WWE at long last? Bullet Club fans, throw it up for the Bullet Club style. For all you Bullet Club fans out there, Derek Ferreira. Because we had, finally, the debuts of Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson from the Bullet Club, notorious in New Japan Pro Wrestling, 3-time IWGP World Tag Team Champions. Michael Fletcher could, he'll basically, tell us all about that.
Wait, Florio, get it right. That's Machine Gun Carl Anderson, and don't you ever forget that, because it's just too sweet.
All right, sorry, I stand corrected. Machine Gun Carl Anderson, and of course Luke Gallows. Everybody remembers Luke Gallows from his previous runs in the WWE as Festus, and then of course as Luke Gallows as part of CM Punk's Straight Edge Society along with Serena Deeb. I mean, I'll never forget that. One of my personal favorite stables. Okay, so we just had a moment there. Michael Fletcher channeling his inner Kevin Nash, NWO. So, and I can see Didi Woodson's going to need a moment to recover from that. So I'm gonna let Didi Woodson catch her breath for a moment. So, let me see. I believe Bullock starts this off.
Goes to Bullock.
Yes.
Goes to Bullock.
All right. So, Phenom, your thoughts on the Usos against the Social Outcasts and the debuts of Luke Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson from the Bullet Club?
Yeah, as far as the match goes, I'm going to say maybe 1 star for the effort. I mean, once again, this was just another match that was just too short for my liking. I mean, the Usos do move on, but boy, oh boy, the Usos got the biggest surprise. Ladies and gentlemen, they have finally arrived. Yeah, they finally arrived. We've been hearing about it for so long, and now they're finally here. Carl Anderson, Dr. Gallows, man, oh man, I mean, they just beat the crap out of the Usos, and they hit that magic killer on Jimmy and then slammed Jey Uso onto the steps, and I mean, everybody was going nuts all over this, and basically, I mean, we've been wondering when these two were gonna come to WWE. They finally arrived, and I'm sure every member of the Bullet Club is every fan member of the Bullet Club is excited about it, but there's only one person left to really complete this, and I think we all know who it is. He is the current NXT champion, Finn Balor. And if he comes up and completes that group. Ho, 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 ho. Everybody, watch out, because the Bullet Club is going to reign all over WWE. So, 1 star for the match, but man, oh man, it's about time they finally come. So, Fletch, I give it to you, man. I know you're really, really excited about this.
I was stunned. I didn't hear anything about them coming. This was a complete blindside. Nobody saw this coming. But I'll tell you one thing. We were thinking, okay, when was the best opportunity for the Bullet Club to show up? Was it going to be at NXT TakeOver? No. Was it at WrestleMania? No. Was it the night after WrestleMania on that Monday Night Raw in Dallas? No. They decided to pull the trigger tonight in, of all places, the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. You know, LA has always been a prime spot for Monday Night Raw where something crazy normally happens. You know, they've had some great success because there's been a lot of SummerSlams in the Staples Center for a number of years. And why the heck not? Let's bring out one of the best tag teams in the world today, Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, the Bullet Club. They show up, they jump them, all heck breaks loose. And let me tell you, they started chanting Bullet Club. And I'll tell you, this broke the internet. Twitter went ablaze, Facebook went ablaze. I started texting all my friends from 2184 crew members. Not even about a minute and a half after Bullet Club hit, Derek Ferrero instantly exploded on Facebook. I mean, it was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I know, Lexi, you must have a lot of friends in the wrestling community right now. I know I had a lot of friends from the RWA, and they went bonkers over this. I mean, this is how it just exploded. This was the moment we all were waiting for. This was the moment we were thinking, was it going to happen? And the one other question was, did people think that it was going to be on, was it going to be a social media thing? Were they going to be in NXT, or were they going to jump them straight to the main roster? We found out that and then some in one found swoop. They are on the main roster. They're not going through NXT. They are now legit Monday Night Raw, and they have made it very clear and very contentious that they're going after the Usos, and they might be going after every other tag team in the division. New Day, you've been put on notice, boys, because I don't think, here's the thing, I don't think whoever wins this so-called tournament is going to even matter. Because if Doc Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson makes it very clear that they're going after that tag team championships, fellas, all the bootios and all the twerking about them being the WWE World Tag Team Champions is not going to amount to anything, because you're going to get 2 bullets in the head and 2 fists in the face. Because I'm guaranteeing it right now, gentlemen and ladies, the Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows are definitely going to be WWE World Tag Team Champions sooner rather than later. 1 star for the fight, but this attack, this beatdown, this surprise, 5 freaking stars. Florio, go.
All right, good old MF. Generally getting I mean, you could say that was somewhat of Cerebral Viper mode, but it was the good kind of Cerebral Viper mode, because I mean because it's well documented how much he and Derek Ferrero love the Bullet Club. I mean, not just those 2 guys, but all the members of the Bullet Club. But I mean, those were 2 of the guys in particular. So, but anywho, to me, it's another 0.5 to 1. But to me, I got to consider this the worst fight of the night. I could even go as far as to say this was a dud for me. I didn't like this match at all. I mean, roll-up finish. I mean, can we go 1 week without a roll-up finish out of nowhere, for goodness sakes? I mean, if I see one more roll-up finish, I swear to God, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I just might as well start on I can't take it face like Michael Bullock. I mean, good grief. I mean, I may as well channel my inner JBL right now. I mean, a roll-up finish, good grief. I mean, ugh. That's why I love JBL's commentary. He's the modern-day Jesse Ventura, just like I'm trying to be. But, these roll-up finishes, I mean, the roll-up finishes are the personification and the epitome of one simple word, a Jesse Ventura word, one of my personal favorites, a personal favorite board of mine. It's called an atrocity, and that's what it was. Roll-up finishes are an atrocity. They're pointless, they're unnecessary, they're unacceptable, they're inexcusable, borderline reprehensible and irresponsible. So no more roll-up finishes. Can we go 1 week, even if it's only 1 week? For goodness sakes, please, just, oh God, no more roll-up finishes, please. Oh God. Okay. All right. Got that off my chest. Now I feel good. Okay. Now let's move on. Carl Anderson, Machine Gun Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows, Luke Gallows. Very strong debut. I mean, I agree with Fletch. I mean, it was a 5-star debut. I mean, these two guys are definitely want to, throw their hat into the ring as far as the tag team division is concerned. I mean, and it adds another classic moment to the Staples Center legacy. I mean, yes, and Lexi Calloway makes a great point about roll-up finishes. They're so 1990. I agree. I could go even further than that. But oh boy. But nonetheless, some great moments in Staples Center history. I mean, some memorable segments. These out of nowhere segments. I mean, the Stephanie McMahon and Test segment, for goodness sakes. I mean, we all remember that, the wedding segment, and Triple H interrupted it. One of Michael Fletch's and myself's, one of our all-time personal favorite segments of all time. That definitely goes into our top 10 as far as our all-time favorites go. There's for so many days, for so many weeks and months, we couldn't go 1 week without reliving that sucker at least once. We had so much fun. That's how much fun we had with it. We could tell you stories about that, but anywho, I mean, wow, what a debut for Gallows and Anderson. It's great to see Gallows back in the WWE. I mean, I know him very well. Of course, he had a run in TNA as Doc, as part of the Aces and Eights. Everybody remembers that, which Bubba and Devon Dudley were a part of, and so many other mainstays in the WWE nowadays were in the Aces and Eights. So, yeah, I mean, great to see Gallows back. I mean, I thought his best work was with the Straight Edge Society with CM Punk and Serena Deeb. I mean, and for that for that brief moment, Joseph Mercury or Joy Mercury, and then from there, Carl Anderson. Like I said, I don't know much about him. I don't follow NJPW like Fletch and Derek do, but I know they could tell me all about him. I mean, I already know how big of a deal he is over there. I mean, he and Gallows 3-time IWGP World Tag Team Champions in New Japan, so I wouldn't be surprised if they become WWE World Tag Team Champions in the very near future, maybe right around summertime or so. But we'll see. So, to me, to be quite honest with you, I really didn't like this match at all. The match, to me, typical dud enhancement fight to me. So that's just basically how I'm gonna roll with it. So Dee Woodson, Lexi Calloway, whoever wants to jump in next. If you want to share your thoughts about this bout or the debuts of Machine Gun Anderson and Gallows Anderson, I mean, feel free if you want to join in. Otherwise, we'll move on. So whoever wants to come in, feel free.
Personally, I thought the debut was awesome. The match, it left a lot to be desired. I'd go between a dud and a quarter of a star with it. Other than that, I think you all pretty much said it.
It was a dud for me.
Did you want to share your thoughts about the debut of Anderson and Gallows, Lex, or did you want us to just want to move on? Well, all right then. All right, so definitely some fun things coming up as far as Anderson and Gallows goes. And with Anderson and Gallows now being a part of the tag team division, I'm going to have to channel my inner Jim Ross here. Business has picked up in the tag team division, if you know what I mean. So, all right. So with that being said, let's move on. And oh boy, are we going to have some fun now? Because now it was this match here. It was the phenomenal AJ Styles going up against Sami Zayn. If Sami Zayn won this match, Sami Zayn would be added to AJ Styles and Roman Reigns, making that a triple threat match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at Payback. Otherwise, it would be just AJ Styles. Winner of the match in 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Sorry, folks. For those of you who wanted to see Sami Zayn get his moment in the sun, not quite yet, because the phenomenal AJ Styles wins the bout in 16 minutes and 45 seconds via the phenomenal forearm. So I believe the luck of the draw smiles upon good old MF Michael Fletcher, the Cerebral Viper. I think I'm just going to set it up on behalf of all of us. We're all going to be in agreement here. This was most definitely the fight of the night. And Michael Fletcher, good old MF, the luck of the draw smiles upon you, sir. So I'd like to get your thoughts on this phenomenal, and I do mean phenomenal, pun intended, bout.
I mean, what is there to say? AJ Styles, Sami Zayn. Wow. I mean, you want to talk about an IWC dream right now? The wrestling gods basically smiled upon all of us and gave us what we expected it, the fight of the night. This was absolutely amazing. Another 4-star fight, another great match, another thrilling back and forth. Here we go. And, my heart breaks for Sami because of the fact that, he did lose the fight. However, Sami's going to get some opportunities. He's going to get a lot of opportunities down the line. But for AJ Styles, this is a feather in the cap moment for him. Another big victory against another quality, great opponent. And now he can focus on Roman Reigns for Payback for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And the awesome part of it was Shane McMahon after the fight telling both guys how, you guys killed it. The fans loved it. For me, thank you guys. Thank you for everything that you guys put out there tonight. And you know what? That's a stand-up move. That's a real awesome move. And I'm glad. And if this was written in by WWE writers for that segment to happen, that backstage segment, bravo WWE. Because you know why? Because what Shane McMahon was encompassing or trying to bring out was what the fans, in the Staples Center was feeling, what we were watching on TV. All 5 of us in that room right now would have said the exact same thing that Shane McMahon was saying. Great job, you guys. Thank you for doing what you guys did out there, because that was amazing. Sami Zayn already has a Fight of the Year candidate in his pocket with Shinsuke Nakamura from NXT TakeOver Dallas, and I can tell you right now, guys, he might have a second Fight of the Year on his hands. This could be the TV Fight of the Year. This could be the Monday Night Raw Fight of the Year with AJ Styles, because that's how good this fight was. It was a 4-star classic. I think, if you gave it some more time, maybe another 10 minutes, maybe we could be yelling 5 stars out of this. But 4 stars is my rating for the fight. This was a damn good match. Fight of the night. No arguments there. Anthony, it's all yours.
Simply phenomenal, pun intended. I mean, wow. Oh, my goodness. Fight of the night, no question about it here. I'm actually going to tweak it a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit higher here. 4.25 to 4.5 stars. This was a phenomenal match. This was the fight of the night. Fantastic. I mean, you want to talk about Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest? We got that here tonight. I mean, and these 2 men busted their ass for one reason, one common goal. you know what that common goal is. The most prestigious title in all of professional wrestling, the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Man, oh man, that match made that title feel prestigious here tonight. That just shows you how bad they want it. I mean, yes, the heartbreak for Sami Zayn, but don't worry. I have faith that Sami Zayn's going to get his in a good way. I mean, he's going to get his day in the sun. He's going to get his day in court soon enough, believe me. But for right now, I mean, it's very clear. I mean, I've read dirt sheets. The push is on for the phenomenal AJ Styles. The push is on. The Rocket Pack, the Jet Pack, Rocket Pack, whatever you want to call it, they've strapped it on him, and let's just say, as of now, slowly but surely, he's on a rocket to the moon, my friends. That's all there is to say about it. And me being one of the biggest AJ Styles marks there is, based on his phenomenal work in TNA, which, let's face it, I mean, he was one of the main reasons why TNA is what it is today. I mean, he was there from day one. He did everything there was to do there, including from the greatest stable of all time, the Fortune 4. Just saying. So, and then, of course, also part of the Bullet Club as well. So, yeah, so the push is on for the phenomenal one. He's on his way. That's all there is to say about it. And while it's very while it's very true that he's going to get fed to Roman, I mean, they're going to feed him to Roman anyway, much to my chagrin. But it is what it is. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong, and I would love to see the phenomenal one, walk out of wherever Payback is. I think it's Chicago. I'm not sure. I think it's Chicago in the IWC capital. I mean, oh my God, did I just say Payback in Chicago, the IWC capital of the world? Did I just say that? Oh Lord. Oh my Lord in heaven. Oh my God. Oh, Hornet's Nest time. Yes. Gee, I wonder who that crowd is going to be. I wonder how the crowd's going to sidewind here. It ain't going to be no 50-50. Oh no.
95-5 goes to AJ Styles.
Amen to that, Michael Fletcher. You got that right. But I'm actually going to tweak it just a little bit. 100% AJ Styles, 0% Roman Reigns. Even with the little children and the young women out there who that's all there is to say about that. So,
basically, Roman Reigns is gonna get the John Cena crowd. Let's call a spade here, Florio. All the men, and all the young and older men are going to be ripping on AJ Styles. Is going to be with AJ Styles. The little kiddies and all of the women is going to be with Roman Reigns.
Does that remind you? Does that remind you of another certain superstar who fights in the name of hustle, loyalty, and respect by any chance?
Yeah, we can go with the Cena, but already Lexi Calloway's already giving me the nope. So I know where her allegiance lies, and that's with AJ Styles. So we know that, and he was asking for a 20-second timeout.
If you've been watching wrestling as long as I have, you should know. First rule of professional wrestling: there are no timeouts in the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, damn right.
I mean.
Well, you're wrong there. Not every woman is going to be fawning over Roman Reigns. So let's get that straight right now. I know Lexi agrees with me on that. Yes, Roman Reigns is I guess you could say, the new current John Cena, where you're doing the boo yays. But, I'm going to interject right here, right now, and say you cannot include all women in this following Roman Reigns. Yeah, you'll have probably the kids that'll go after Roman Reigns, but you're going to have a lot of ladies that are probably going to go after AJ Styles as well. So I would agree that it's going to be probably the 95-5 crowd, and giving the 5% to the kids that will be backing Roman Reigns. Whatever ladies decide that they like Roman Reigns over AJ Styles, but you cannot put AJ Styles in any kind of a picture to where you can say that he is anywhere being not a professional, because, as you said, yes, he started with TNA. He's been just about everywhere, including New Japan, and he's got to be one of my biggest marks. And like I told Fletch earlier, you know, couldn't go for either one of them in the match because I like Sami Zayn too. But I am very happy that AJ won, and you know, I hope he does well. But I don't see him winning at the pay-per-view either.
Yeah, much to our chagrin, and when we get to Lexi, feel free to mention that very briefly. Your brief interaction with AJ Styles. I mean, my goodness gracious. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with that in a minute.
I would give it a 4-star though.
4 stars. Okay, fair enough. But you agree with us, the fight of the night, right, Dee Dee Woodson? Fight of the night on your end? Yeah. Okay. That's a nod. Yes.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Like I said, I said we were all in agreement, and I think that pretty much confirmed it. So, but to me, 4 1/4, 4.5 stars. Well done, and thank you very much, AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. On behalf of all 5 of us, we very much appreciate your efforts tonight, gentlemen. Well done. Well done. That is all there is to say about that. I mean, that was technical wrestling at its finest, and I'm going to bring in my cohort who loves him some technical wrestling as much as I do, if not more. I mean, you know, he and I grew up on the greatest series of technical wrestling matches back in the day. You know where I'm going with it. Flair, Steamboat, anyone? Hello. I'm going to bring in the Steamboat to my Flair right now. So, Phenom, Michael Bullock, Steamboat, your thoughts on this Styles and Zayn damn near 5-star classic. Mr. Bullock, it's all yours, sir. Bullock, you with us? Oh, yeah, okay. I think we all know what that is.
I think we lost him.
Yep, I had a feeling.
All right.
He has long days, folks. He has long days. So you already know that story by now. So, all right. So with that being said, I want to bring in Lexi now. So, Lexi, I already know your thoughts. I mean, you agree with all of us. It was the fight of the night, but I'd really like to get your brief thoughts about that. And you said that in your home state of Texas, as part of PCW, you got to meet the Phenomenal One. Jealous.
Long before he was calling himself the Phenomenal One, I got to meet him. I was very lucky. He did a couple of shows here at PCW back in the early days of the company, back when I was actually in the company itself. We had the joy to get to talk to him backstage for a while and outside after the show, and he was just probably the biggest sweetheart I have ever met, and that's saying a lot considering I go to every show I can. He really made it quite a showing on his first night in PCW, taking out our current champion at the time, which we all know as Mr. Vance Archer, aka Lance Hoyt. And yeah, I just remember sitting there and then seeing him come into WWE. I was like, whoa, wait a minute here. When did they manage to snag Mr. TNA himself? But no, I agree with y'all completely. This was the match of the night for me, in my opinion.
Yeah, lucky you. I mean, what we would give to meet the Phenomenal One himself. I mean, oh man, he's unbelievable. I mean, he's just so fun to watch. I mean, it doesn't matter who he goes up against. I mean, it's a guaranteed fight of the night, and that was a fight of the night we just saw here tonight.
What about that show? What do y'all think about that showing afterwards? The little segment between him and AJ, between Sami Zayn and AJ. I thought that was a great showing of sportsmanship right there.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about to me. I mean, if I was ever a wrestler and I just had a damn near 5-star match like those two just had tonight, that's exactly what I would do. I mean, it didn't matter. I mean, if it was Fletcher or Bullock or whoever, I mean, as long as Fletcher wasn't in Cerebral Viper mode, I'd be okay. But what a great segment though backstage. And Lexi makes a great point. I mean, that was a great backstage segment with Styles and Zayn and Shane O'Mac too. So
there's always a thing in professional wrestling about this code of honor, and that's what this was. This was a code of honor, a brother of arms, and that's the greatness of two proven professionals. Doesn't matter what type of affiliation, if you're a heel or a face, when you put your body on the line, when you leave it out in the ring, and the fans give you that type of love, that type of reception, it doesn't matter if it's in the arena or on TV or wherever. That's what wrestling is all about. That's what professional wrestling is all about, not sports entertainment.
All right. Didi Woodson put in our chat box a question, guys. Is there something you wanted to address, Didi Woodson?
Well, Kevin made a point earlier tonight of, all these TNA stars are coming over to WWE and NXT. And I was sitting there trying to count how many there was. How many would you all say is actually would be from TNA that has jumped ship?
Well, let's see.
Lance Hoyt was one.
Bobby Roode, AJ Styles.
Yep, AJ Styles.
Lance Hoyt.
Yeah, Lance Hoyt. Yep. I forgot the gimmick he was under, but yes, you're right.
Vance Archer.
Oh, that's right, Vance Archer. Yep, in ECW. That's right. Yep, I remember that. I tried to forget ECW because that was let's face it, that was awful. So
yeah,
I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. So.
I mean, if you think about it now, then you have Austin Aries in NXT, you have Samoa Joe in NXT,
and then,
so that's
Bobby,
like 5.
Looks like they've got Bobby Roode.
6.
Yeah, Bobby Roode. We can't forget about the it factor of professional wrestling.
I mean,
what about the world-class maniac, Eric Young?
But he's not officially yet, so we can't say yes or no. So right now, I mean, I could probably say maybe.
And we can't. And I know, but just to be absolutely sure, just to make sure we have the most accurate number we could possibly have. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to bring up one of the worst gimmicks of all time, Braden Walker. You know who that was? The Wildcat, Chris Harris. As part of maybe the greatest tag team in TNA history, or one of the greatest rather, in America's Most Wanted. So.
And then you had Senshi, as low key, but they did nothing with him. That was a complete waste of time.
Yeah, well, the story about Cabal, he was known as Cabal. The story was he left on his own because he couldn't deal with the travel schedule. He couldn't deal with the schedule.
But it wasn't just the travel schedule. It was also the way that they were treating him in WWE. They treat him like a piece of garbage.
I agree with you. I mean, they basically had him as like somewhat of somewhat of a manservant to LayCool. Yeah. For goodness sakes, as part of NXT, when he had LayCool as his pros, and I mean, he did have. I mean, unfortunately, he didn't get. He wasn't as booked properly as we were hoping he would. Even though he did have one moment in the sun, when he had that great match with Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship at Survivor Series 2010. And one of the few highlights of that show. So
right now, but just to answer Didi Woodson's question,
what about James Storm? What about James Storm briefly in NXT?
Yeah, but does that really count because he did go back to TNA?
Let's not discredit things. Jump back and forth.
Yeah.
I would say about 8 or 9, maybe 10. Is there a right or wrong answer to that, Didi Woodson, or are you just curious about that?
I was kind of curious, but you all did miss one other one that did appear on both, and that was the female Awesome Kong.
Oh, Karma, yes.
Karma,
Karma. Yes, Karma, absolutely. Boy, oh boy, I mean.
And I do
know only that could have worked.
And I do know
I was just reading there's been 15 total.
15, yeah.
I'd say there are about 15 total, and I think currently there's probably about 7 or 8. So.
And get ready because of the fact that I'm hearing rumors that the Beautiful People might be the next to jump because of the fact that Angelina Love actually asked for her release before she had the baby because she was pregnant, and she had the kid, and during the time off, her contract ran out, and now she is possibly on her way to WWE, and not only that, but Velvet Sky, or in WWE, Talia Madison, she might be on her way to WWE NXT because she's dating Bubba Ray Dudley.
Very true.
I heard a rumor as well.
Yeah.
I heard we might be having the Hardys back in WWE. Just a rumor, but that's what I've heard.
Read into that what
Oh
you
my-
will, or take it with a grain of
Oh
salt.
my goodness, Dee Dee Woodson would absolutely go. She would go. She would be virtually unbearable if
That
the
was
Hardys
just,
come back.
That was a rumor that was floating around at Hall of Fame while I was there.
Mm,
Okay.
that's interesting.
Yeah, as you.
And
As,
had it not come from people who are basically board members, I wouldn't have believed it. But it was board members that were saying it. So I don't know. There's talks. It's rumors right now. That's all we can go on is rumors.
of
Well,
course.
And with wrestling, you have to say never, because Matt Hardy said
course.
he'd never be back, and here they're talking about him coming back, and they've hired back several people that they've fired, and you can't say never with any kind of wrestling organization.
The only worry that you have to have is that with Matt Hardy, I don't think there's much of an issue. Jeff Hardy is the one that you got to watch out for, because remember, he violated the wellness policy already twice
Indeed, he did.
because of drugs.
And boy, did it cost him.
Yes.
And it cost them big time.
He was supposed to
One
win
more-
Money in the Bank at WrestleMania 24. Remember?
Yes,
Yeah.
I remember that, Anthony. And what I was trying to get to was that was one factor, but it also torpedoed him in his title run as well. Remember, he was supposed to have the belt a lot more longer than he did, but because of the fact that he was in trouble with the law, and because of his I think it was a felony possession in North Carolina, that's why he kind of was positioned out. And if you notice, every time that they go overseas, they never see Jeff Hardy. He cannot leave the United States because of that. Because I think he's still on probation because of those charges.
I believe so. Yes, well documented. So, yeah, and as everybody knows, with Jeff Hardy, the two wellness violations. I mean, one of those violations cost him the Money in the Bank ladder match, because the plan was for Jeff Hardy to win that Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 24 at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando. But of course, he got busted, and who benefited from that? One CM Punk, and we all know, and that pretty much kick-started the Punkster's career right then and there. So, and then of course we all know. Fast forward about 3 or 4 years. Oh yeah, all those accolades. I mean, World Heavyweight Championships, WWE Championships. I mean, including the longest reign in the modern era, 434 days. That's not going to be broken anytime soon. I don't care what anybody says. So, but yeah, that was great. So, yeah, well done, everybody. I mean, that was some good stuff right there. That's what it's all about here on the forum. We want to give you the best and nothing but the best. So, all right. So, I mean, oh boy. I mean, I wish we could end it right there, but no, we still got more to come here, and well, we're gonna have even more fun now, because it was Chris Jericho's highlight reel, and Chris Jericho said his guest was, well, himself. And, well, he basically, I mean, let me be honest with you. With Chris Jericho doing what he did, let me just say it like this. I don't know about any of you. Maybe Michael Fletcher, because, Michael Fletcher and I, who knows? Maybe Fletch knows where I might be going with this, but I'm gonna try him anyway. Fletch, MF, seeing Chris Jericho doing what he was doing, did it bring back a certain memory of, I don't know, Brother Love at WrestleMania 5 during the infamous Piper's Pit?
Yes.
Fair
I
enough.
know where you're going with that. Yes.
I was having flashbacks. I admit it. I was having flashbacks of Brother Love dressed as, in his best Roddy Piper kilt gear, and, he was doing, basically talking to himself, during that infamous Piper's Pit segment with the Rowdy one, the late, great Roddy Piper, God rest his soul. And, of course, same can be said for Morton Downey Jr. Don't blow no smoke in my face. That's it. And then, of course, Jericho was doing the same thing until he was interrupted by, Lexi Calloway's favorite wrestler right now. The Lunatic Fringe, Dean Ambrose. And then Dean Ambrose, he goes to present Chris Jericho with a memo from Shane McMahon. He's like, oops, speeding ticket from California. I need that. So, and then he's like, okay, here's the memo from Shane O'Mac. And that memo clearly stated, to whom this may concern, effective immediately, Chris Jericho's highlight reel is hereby canceled and now turned into the Ambrose Asylum. And, well, we had the inaugural edition of the Ambrose Asylum with Dean Ambrose and Chris Jericho. Oh, boy, another great segment here. Another one of my top segments of the night. And hint, hint, maybe another possible match at Payback, Dean Ambrose against Chris Jericho. Do I want to see that? Let me think about that. Yeah, I want to see it. I mean, this is another fight of the night candidate right here. I mean, we're making this Payback show loaded in Chicago. I mean, you put this match on the card, oh yeah, the IWC is gonna have a hell of a lot of fun with this. Duh. I mean, the body of work of Dean Ambrose, the body of work of Chris Jericho. Give him 15 to 20 minutes, you got 4 stars easily, right there. That's all I can say about that. And it could also be a potential show stealer, anyone? So, yeah, so there's nothing left for me to say except this was another phenomenal segment. This was a fantastic segment here. I mean, all of the in-ring segments were very good. I mean, honestly, I can't rank them, but this is definitely one of the best, one of the great segments of the night for sure. Another highlight on this loaded highlight of Monday Night Raw. So with all that being said, Michael Fletcher, MF, your thoughts on what was the highlight reel, but then changed to the Ambrose Asylum per order of Shane McMahon?
I gotta tell you, me and DD Woodson both had we had a laugh riot on this one. This was as good as it could have gotten. I loved it. I enjoyed it. This was when everything went down. It was good. It was really good. It was solid. Jericho comes out, typical Jericho. It's all about me. I need the spotlight, a la Batista during WrestleMania 26's days. And the next thing you know, Ambrose came out, and I was like, okay, is it going to be Ambrose? Is it going to be Cena? Is it going to be, are we going to get a surprise here? Next thing you know, here comes Ambrose, and Dee Wilson's looking at me. She's like, what does Ambrose have? I was like, looks like a potted plant and a cue card. And we both were thinking, like, what the heck is going on here? So next thing you know, here comes the first. No, oops, wait a minute. That's a California speeding ticket. Dean, not cool. Next thing we know, it's the memo, and just right at the point that he did it, he basically puts on the little sign that says Ambrose Asylum. He's got this what type of thing? It was like it was like a clip-on tie, and I'm like, and he's trying to be all professional, trying to be a host of a talk show. You know what? I'll say it like this. That's right, and it actually had a hole in it too. Oh my God! But, Dean Ambrose is just awesome, man. We always knew he's money on the mic. You know what to expect. He's got a couple of screws loose up in the head. You know that. I mean, he even. I could compare him a lot to Simon Cowell. The way he dressed, especially because of the fact that no tie. He's has a couple of buttons off, so he's got a little bit of like shirtlet, a little shirt thing. You saw the outfit he wore on Hall of Fame night, so you know what Dean Ambrose is not really he's not a tie guy. He's not a corporate suit. He's gonna dress whatever he wants to dress. I mean, his shoes were basically wrestling boots, for heaven's sake. I mean, so that's just Dean Ambrose in a nutshell. He loves to fight. He loves to have fun. He's gonna do it his way or the highway, and and he's gonna march to the beat of his own drummer. He has a little bit of Roddy Piper, so for him to do his own little TV thing, this is perfect for him. Minus the kilt, give him the attitude, give him the craziness, and you're gonna have yourself. Basically, he is the Piper of two. He's Piper 2.0. I'm just gonna say it like that. So, with that said, I loved it. I think it was absolutely awesome. Looks like Michael Bullock is back. So, Florio, I think Nomar needs to catch up on a lot of crap. So, go for it. So, Florio, set him up.
All right. We got Michael Bullock back. Praise the Lord for that. So Bullock, I don't think he has much to catch up on. I mean, he left off at on that unbelievable match between Sammy's AJ Styles and Sami Zayn. So Bullock, I already know you're gonna say it's the fight of the night, but I'm
definitely.
What your rating?
Oh yes, definitely it is the fight of the night. What did you guys rate it?
It was pretty much 4 across the board, but me personally, I gave it 4 1/4 to 4.5. But it's up to you.
I'll say 4 1/4 is my rating for the match. But man, oh man, what a match between these two. So yeah, so I'm sure you guys pretty much talked about it. So I say we move on. And you guys talked about the highlight reel.
We just did that now, but before that. Oh yeah, that's right. You didn't miss much. It was just, and then we pretty much had a roundtable discussion about other things. So yeah, you didn't miss much, Bullock. I mean, you just missed that Styles and Zayn match, which to me, I mean, a quick question, and this is a personal question between me and Bullock here. As you were watching that Styles and Zayn match, I know I was having flashbacks, but were you having flashbacks like the same flashbacks that I was having? Of our favorite series of matches of all time, Flair Steamboat by any chance?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so yeah, that's pretty much how we got started. The Flair Steamboat matches. That's pretty much how that did it for us. Like I said, he's the Steamboat. Michael Bullock has always been the Ricky Steamboat to my Ric Flair. So, all right, now that I got that out, Bullock, your thoughts on what was the highlight reel with Chris Jericho, but then interrupted and became the Ambrose Asylum with Dean Ambrose per order of Shane McMahon.
All I can say is I was just having a whole lot of fun with this, with what we saw. I mean, it was just fun between these two, and I mean, there's really nothing more to be said. I mean, you pretty much talked about it. So that being said, I say we move on to our next match.
All right. So next up, well, we had our cool down moment of the night. We had another Dud enhancement fight. It was Apollo Crews going up against Social Outcast member Adam Rose with Bo Dallas in his corner. We already know who won this match. It was Apollo Crews. He wins the match 3 minutes and 35 seconds via his spin-out powerbomb move. So, I don't know who leads off, but because we had a lot to digest because of that awesome segment we just had, the four of us just had without Bullock. So, yeah. So, anybody remember? Oh yeah, the face palm there. So so whoever wants to start it off, or all right, you know what? I'll just start it off. This to me was an absolute dud. I do have to make a slight correction here. This was the worst fight of the night for me. This was a dud. Basically, it was a dud enhancement fight. That's basically what it is. Showcase win for Apollo Crews, and well, he's starting to get the love of the IWC NXT group. So that's all there is to say about that. So yeah, he hasn't been there that long. I mean, he started back in the summer when he went up against Dillinger at at Brooklyn. So we all remember that. So Apollo Crews is on his way up, but this is how it's probably going to be over the next few months. They're going to have him basically in dud enhancement fights until they're ready to put him in a meaningful feud, which I hope is soon because, not really a fan of dud enhancement fights. So I'm just going to leave it at that. So it was a dud enhancement fight, and it was the worst fight of the night for me. So with that said, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on this showcase for Apollo Crews over Adam Rose?
Yeah, this was a dud for me. I mean, this was another showcase match for Apollo Crews, and so yeah, there's really nothing more for me to say. Dud, Fletcher, it's yours. Fletch.
Okay, I'm gonna have to step in here. I'm gonna have to improvise here. I don't know what happened to Fletch. I don't know if he's having issues again. Um, Didi Woodson, Lexi Calloway, anybody? If either of you want to, give your brief thoughts about this showcase for Apollo Crews over Adam Rose, or if not, we can just move on if you want. It's up to you. Oh, Fletch. Oh,
Dud.
Fletch is
I
back in.
was going up.
Yeah, Fletch. All
No,
right.
no. Let's just move on. I mean, it was only it was basically like you guys said. It was a pure showcase fight for Apollo Crews. Me and Didi Woodson was like, you know what? We were impressed. We like what we see, but I think it's time to give them better competition, more legit fighters, and that was really the big takeaway that me and Didi had of that match. Is we liked what we see, we like what we have gotten up to this point, but I think it's time that we start to really see him become a bigger player. But for me, yeah, it was a dud, one of the worst fights of the night. I think it's time that we give him up the ladder and give him at least a mid card guy, somebody that he could feud with.
All
I
right.
think I can say for most of us, we're kind of tired of the dud enhancements that they give some of these guys that actually know how to wrestle.
Amen.
You know,
Amen to that.
give them somebody that's worth their time, not somebody that's a complete joke like Adam Rose has been since he even joined WWE.
Amen, Didi Woodson. Amen to that. I can't tell you how much I agree with you on that, 100%. So, all right. Bullock, did we get to you, Bullock?
I already did.
Oh, you already did. Okay. I just wanted to be sure on that, like I always do. So, all right. So, yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree with that more. I mean, yeah, but, let's remember, showcase, dud enhancement, squash matches, whatever you want to call them, they're a way of life in the WWE. I mean, we grew up watching this as kids, for goodness sakes, back in, like in the 70s and the 80s and whatever. So squash matches have always existed, and unfortunately they still exist to this day. I mean, if I was running the show, there would be no squash matches. It would be nothing but competitive matches the whole way through. So this was one of the few downsides of this show tonight. So, all right. And now it's time for the main event. We had, representing the League of Nations, we had the Celtic Warriors, Sheamus and Alberto Del Rio, accompanied by Rusev, the Bulgarian Brute, going up against the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns, and yes, Bray Wyatt. Winners of the match in 11 minutes and 45 seconds, Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt, and it was Bray Wyatt who scored the winning fall with Sister Abigail on Alberto Del Rio. So, Michael Bullock, your thoughts on the main event?
I'm going to give it somewhere between 2.5 to 3 stars as my rating for the match. I mean, the main event was fine for what it was. You talk about. You never would have thought you would see Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns team up and basically Bray Wyatt, of course, he started it off and with that spider walk to basically freaked out Sheamus, and yeah, and then of course, the action was fine for what it was. I mean, 2.5 to 3 stars is my rating for the match. Fletch, your thoughts on the main event?
Yeah, I agree with you as well. 2.5 to 3 is my rating as well. Very good main event match. It was definitely what I expected it to be, and the body of work of it was really, really, really the most compelling argument. And a lot of people were wondering, was Bray Wyatt and Roman Reigns, can they get together? Can they coexist? Answer: yes, they can. They did. It worked out. Probably not as great as we thought it was going to be, but hey, it worked out nonetheless. I was pleased with the outcome. I was pleased with the match, and there's really nothing else to say. I think it was just one of those matches that really stood out, and for me, I was very pleased with the way that it turned out. So I got nothing bad to say. I think everybody did their jobs really well. And with that said, Anthony, it's yours.
I'm gonna make another another change to my scorecard here. I'm actually gonna call this the third best fight of the night, and I'm gonna bump the Diva fight, the women's fight rather, down to 4 because of that clunky finish. We didn't get a clunky finish here. I mean, Bray Wyatt wins the bout with the Sister Abigail on Alberto Del Rio. This was a very solid main event, one of the better main events we've had in a while. Solid 3 stars is my rating for this, teetering on 3.25 even. I mean, this was, a better than expected main event. I didn't think there was going to be anything special, but they surprised me. They really surprised me, and God bless them for giving Bray Wyatt the win here. I mean, they easily could have had Roman get the win here, but hey, Bray Wyatt gets the win here, and then all chaos breaks loose, total chaos, anarchy breaks loose, a la Michael Fletcher. So, yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? I mean, an entertaining main event. I mean, I know a lot of people are not all that excited by the League of Nations, but it was interesting to see, for us to watch the dynamic between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. And it gives us a question here. Does this mean Bray is an all-out babyface, or is his character playing the long con with Reigns? Right now, we're thinking babyface, but it's something to at least consider. So, let me say it like this. A very strong show. And, over the last few weeks, we've been treated to garbage shows. And I can't believe I'm saying garbage shows out of all times of the year, the road to WrestleMania. But let me just say it like this. This was far and away the best Raw we've seen in a very, very long time. And this was a great way to conclude said show. So that's how I feel about it. So 3 to 3.25 stars and the third best fight of the night. So, Edie, Lexi, if you want to join in, if you want to give your thoughts on the main event, feel free. Otherwise, we'll just move on to our Raw review.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3 stars. You did have the other 2 from Bray's gang that did pop out during there, but I was very impressed with the fact that they did not really interject other than taking out Rusev on the outside. And like you said, this was a very clean finisher. I told Fletch when the match started, I felt bad for Roman because I felt he was outnumbered, but they proved they could work together and not attack each other, so I was very impressed with that. But my big question is, where was this show last week? We always have a good show following WrestleMania, and here we had to wait a week to get a half-decent to good show out of WWE. So, I think they need to try to see what they did right this week and continue that pattern instead of every so often throwing in these I guess you could say, the Dead Enhancement Week match or shows.
All right, fair enough. Lexi, did you wanna throw your 2 cents in, or you just want us to move on to the overall?
The only thing I have to say on this is what the shit? That hair. I could not get past Sheamus's hair and his piercing. That's the only thing I have to add to that.
Okay.
I gotta say this was not one of the best matches. I don't know what it is. Something about Bray Wyatt gives me the creeps, so I want to look away every single time. It's y'all.
You're not the only one that actually feels that way, Lexi. There's a few people that I know that Bray Wyatt creeps out. You're not the only one.
All right, so that's that. So now we're going to move on to our overall thoughts on tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw. I got a good feeling that it's going to be nothing but the power of positivity here. So we're going to start it off with the good old MF Mike Fletcher. So MF, your overall thoughts on this very strong show tonight?
This was at least an 8 to 8.5 in my eyes. I thought this was a very good Monday Night Raw. This was a solid show. LA, this was a deliberate show. And the thing is, I think now you start to sense that WWE might be turning a corner a little bit because of the fact that it looks like we're still sensing Cena's going to be coming back anytime now because he did appear at WrestleMania, so he might be coming back. Randy Orton might be coming back pretty soon. Plus with the new additions that are coming in from WWE, it looks like WWE is starting to really getting a roster that looks like they are really going to be pushing for at least the summer months. We had some good quality fights tonight. We got some story progressions. Cesaro is now in the Intercontinental Championship storyline. We have a legitimate main event now. Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, they're looking good there. You got Jericho and Dean Ambrose. It looks like they're on a collision course right now. And there's little stories in between that's starting to come together that makes us want to watch. And plus, on top of that, with the helm of Shane McMahon, running Monday Night Raw this week, and him, giving him the opportunity, and you're starting to notice his influence on the shows. This is what the fans was waiting for. This is what they were talking about. Change. Younger guys getting opportunities. It feels like, a Triple H. There's no Stephanie. We have not seen him since WrestleMania. So you kind of feel like this is not the status quo. This is something different, something new, something fresh, something better. And like we said, unfortunately next week they're not going to be in the US, so it looks like they're not going to be in the U.S., so who knows what type of Raw we're gonna get. But I will say this: I like the direction it's going. I like that it's in a way they're starting to understand what we're looking for. But there are some areas of improvement. Apollo Crews, give them some better talent. What? In a way, I wanted is to see Baron Corbin tonight. I think Baron Corbin definitely has made a name for himself. I think after what he did at WrestleMania, what he's done on NXT, I think him and Dolph Ziggler had a good match. I would have liked to see them have give them a little more time on that as well. I think what we got right now is good, but it's like you can sense it's only a matter of time before something bigger is about to go down, and it's coming. I feel that gonna break the internet. Tonight we had Carl Anderson and the Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows show up tonight. That broke the internet. What is gonna be that next big thing? Right now, that's the thing. WWE is it has an opportunity to really break out and be something bigger. We have to wait and see, but I like what I see. 8 to 8.5 is my rating for tonight's Monday Night Raw. I thought this was a very good show. Florio, it's yours.
Right there with you, Fletch. 8 to 8.5 out of 10 is indeed the correct rating for this very strong edition of Monday Night Raw, and I could rank it as one of the best shows of the year. I could say maybe second best show of the year. I mean, I thought the only show that was better was that show where Shane McMahon came back in Detroit at the Joe. I mean, back on February 22nd. I mean, that still to me is the best Raw of the year. I mean, it's very simple. The three best shows of the year, you know, Shane McMahon's return, this show tonight, and the Monday Night Raw back on February the 8th, which featured that unforgettable retirement speech by Daniel Bryan. So that's those to me are my three best Monday Night Raws of the year so far, top three, in no particular order. So, but anywho, 8 to 8.5. I mean, this was a fantastic show from start to finish. I mean, yeah, you had your typical dud enhancement fights, you know, mixed in there, unfortunately. So, but other than that, I mean, I really didn't see anything else. And heck, again, I'm going to say it again. My biggest surprise of the night, Dr. Phil was actually useful. Wow. I mean, I still can't believe I'm actually saying that. I thought for sure it was going to be something corny and lame, but no. Dr. Phil was actually useful, and I'll sum it up by saying this. The overall show was much better than usual. The absence of heel authority figures was a nice start, but there was plenty of light with a strong and intriguing debuts of Machine Gun Anderson and Gallows, good to even great in-ring action at times, quality in-ring talking segments, and I'll even throw in that video package they threw in on Baron Corbin. I mean, we didn't feel like we were watching filler. The tag title tournament helped make those matches feel like they had a purpose, and Dr. Phil was much more tolerable and useful than the way WWE has booked a lot of their other guest hosts in the past, you know, circa 2009 and 10. It felt like a much stronger creative effort than usual. Here's hoping it continues. So that's basically all we're saying here. So it's an 8 to 8.5 out of 10. So Michael Bullock, your overall thoughts on this at least top three edition of Monday Night Raw in 2016 so far? Bullock, you with us? I don't understand. His mic is on. I don't know what's going on. So Edie Woodson, Lexi, if you want to chip in with your overall thoughts on this very fantastic and strong show tonight, feel free.
Yeah, I agree. This is a very strong show. I would give it the 8.5 rating. I would probably put it up there as one of my favorites, next to the one where Shane McMahon announced that he bought Nitro. That one was another one of my really big favorites. You know, not too many people know I like Shane McMahon a lot. I kind of mark out for him a little bit too, especially with the East Coast West Coast. That's got to be one of my favorite moves that he does. As for the segments, they were all strong segments. Dean Ambrose, in my opinion, I would say he's a mixture of Piper with a tad bit of Stone Cold Steve Austin in him, because I mean he has that that mentality that Stone Cold has, is I'm not going to take anything off of you, and pretty much without flipping the bird, he's definitely got the Stone Cold attitude, but he's also got Piper's sense of humor and stuff like that as well. I'd have to say that was probably one of my favorite in-ring segments, was the two of them, him and Jericho. Loved most of the backstage segments. They were very strong, very good. And as for our new Divas division, Bella Who? I mean, I'm not missing the Bellas one bit with what's going on with the girls. The girls have been able to hold their own. Yeah, there's still a handful that, in my opinion, cannot wrestle very well. Cough, cough, Summer. Cough, cough, Eva. But you also still have a lot of them that can and will make that division actually grow. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that will back me on this in the IWC. Is we need now a Divas tag title to come into the picture, because that's about the only thing you do not have. You've got the women's title, you got all the men's titles, but now we need to prove that the women can work together and be able to hold their own tag division. So, Lexi, Bullock, either one of you jump in next.
I totally agree on the 8.5. The only thing I gotta say about this is going into the next pay-per-view, I've gotta say, you ain't seen nothing yet, to quote Dean Ambrose himself.
Oh yes. Especially with that raucous crowd in Chicago.
I have a feeling that it's gonna be packed to the brim, just like it was here. I agree with Dee. This women's division needs a tag title. It really does. I do have one person to add to that list. Oh my God! Can somebody please tell Becky Lynch that her hair is orange?
Okay.
Good job.
Okay. On that note, we got Bullock back in. So, Michael Bullock, your overall thoughts on this very strong Monday Night Raw tonight?
It certainly was. I'm going to give it about an 8.5 out of 10. I mean, this was a much better edition of Monday Night Raw. I mean, the last 3 Raws, I mean, they basically have been in the crapper, but not this one tonight. So you guys pretty much touched on everything. So I think it's time we get into the return of the return of Mikey's Mindset and Tony's Take.
Fletch, are you ready with your Mikey's Mindset, or do you want me to start first?
Yeah, you caught me at a bad time. I was just quickly eating an Oreo, but I can go. I can go, guys.
Okay.
Alright, so, excuse me about that. Like I said, I was just trying to get a little midnight snack here, and I kind of caught myself here in the East Coast. Oh, man. Alright. So, Mikey's Mindset, let's start out. Lucha Underground, it went down Wednesday night. And what we had, guys, was a very good show. It started out with the beautiful Eva Lise going one-on-one with Cabra Moon. Eva Lise won the match. A solid 2 3/4 of a star fight. Then after that, they announced for the first time, well, not for the first time, but they've announced a new tournament, basically a number 1 contenders trios tournament. We had in this fight tonight, was Cortez Castro, Joey Ryan, yes, he's a sick and perverted young man, and Mr. Cisco, and they went up against the Mac Mariposa and Marty the Moth Martinez. I mean, this guy's a creepy son of a you-know-what, too. So Cortez Castro, Joey Ryan, and Mr. Cisco wins the bout, and this was a solid 3.5 stars. And then in our main event, well, then they actually announced that next week, get a load of this, guys. Next week in a trios tournament match, you are going to see Dragon Azteca Jr., Prince Puma, and the luchador legend Rey Mysterio Jr. They all are going to team up, and they're going to be in a match. And in the Lucha Underground main event for the night, for the Lucha Underground heavyweight title on the line, it was the monster, Matanza Cueto, going one-on-one with Phoenix. The winner of the bout, still champion, was Matanza Cueto. I mean, it was what you expected. A good, solid 3-star fight. It was basically big guy versus little man. Big guy squashes him. But the thing that really made this really interesting at the end of the fight was that Dario Cueto was basically telling Matanza to destroy Phoenix, take him out. The next thing you saw, it was Katrina, the former boss of the temple. She showed up, but she had that mysterious object in her hand. You know what that meant. Mil Muertes shows up and jumps Matanza Cueto, and it looks like to me that now we got ourselves a situation where Matanza Cueto might be on a collision course with the man of 1,000 deaths, Mil Muertes, and oddly enough, they normally do a lot of the shows in Boyle Heights, California, but I know for a fact, Lexi, that some of the tapings coming up was actually down in your neck of the woods in Texas, at South by Southwest. There was a few tapings, so we're not gonna spoil anything for you guys out there, but there's definitely some very interesting Lucha Underground stuff coming up very soon. Now, to switch gears briefly to what went down on Ring of Honor Wrestling on the TV side, we had a World Tag Team Championship fight for the ROH World Tag Team Championship. It was Roppongi Vice, Trent Beretta, and Rocky Romero going up against Hanson and Rowe of War Machine. The winners of the bout, still Tag Team Champion, was War Machine. They won the match. Then we had a very special one-on-one match. It was ACH going up against one of three of the New Japan Pro Wrestling Never Open Trios champion and the reigning, defending, undisputed IWGP Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, the Cleaner, the Elite, Kenny Omega. And then Kenny Omega won that fight. And then in the main event for the show, it was Dalton Castle one-on-one with Silas Young, the last gentleman wrestler. And it was Dalton Castle winning the fight. And guys, this was a fight without honor. No DQ, no countouts, anything goes, no time limit. Basically, a fight without honor is basically it's a straight up bar fight. It's a bar street brawl. There was ladders, there was chairs, there was tables, anything you could think of, they had it, minus the kitchen sink. So it was definitely a thrilling match. I liked it. I loved it. Great way to end the 14th anniversary for Ring of Honor. And next week, now they're going to start going into the Border Wars. So they're going to talk about that coming up. There's going to be some special highlights of some events that went down in Japan for them. And we're also going to get to see some of the great stars of New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're going to be a part of next week's show. So great show for them. Unfortunately, I got nothing on the way of the Renegade Wrestling Alliance this week. However, I do have some major announcements. I had to reschedule my interview with Jammin' Jack Connor. We are going to do it sometime this week, possibly Thursday now. We're going to get that up. Of course, the Liz B interview that was put up a couple of less than a week ago has gotten rave reviews by not only the wrestling community but even from a few people that I know very near and dear to my heart. So I say thank you guys so much for that as always. So that's it for the Mikey's Mindset. Florio, what happened on the Tony's take. It's all yours, bro.
Now we're going back to the previous week, right? That's all we're doing. Just want to be sure.
Yes, yep, just
Okay.
last week's action.
Okay. Because we haven't done this in a while. Out of respect for WrestleMania week. So, all right. Last time on TNA Impact Wrestling, we had started it off with a 6 sides of steel cage match. Jeff Hardy, much to the delight of Dee Dee Woodson, going up against the world-class maniac Eric Young, and winner of the match in 12 minutes and 40 seconds. It was Jeff Hardy via the Swanton. Very good match. 3 to 3 1/4 stars is my rating for it. One of the top fights of the night for sure. A very strong cage match, no question about that. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And then we had Jeremy Borash in the ring talking about the World Heavyweight title match. Matt Hardy and his crew come out, and then Drew Galloway comes out, and they basically have their back and forth. And to me, one of the better segments of the night. One of the very good segment here. So yes, I mean, anytime Matt Hardy and his crew is in the ring, that's always must-see television. I mean, I love Matt Hardy's heel character, so that was very good. Then we had a street fight. Bobby Lashley against the in-ring return of the Pope D'Angelo De Niro, and it was Bobby Lashley who won that. A very entertaining street fight, to say the very least. Another one of my fights of the night for sure. And now we got to come to the shocker of the night. We had a 3-way match. We had a triple threat match for the TNA Knockouts title. Gail Kim defending against Madison Rayne and Jade, winner of the match, and the new TNA Knockouts champion, Jade. Yes, Jade, formerly of the Dollhouse. Jade is now your brand new TNA Knockouts champion. Jade pins Gail with the STO to win the belt, and wow, I'm more than surprised. I mean, hey, a change in the women's division. I mean, it's nice to see someone. It's nice to see some new blood with the title. So the match may not have been one of the better matches. It was about a 2-star match at best. But hey, kudos to Jade for getting it done. So well done. And then we had an in-ring segment. Gregory Shane Helms and X Division champion Trevor Lee calling out Eddie Edwards, and another fine segment for what it was. They're trying to recruit Eddie Edwards to join their crew, I guess. So that's pretty much all there is to say on that. And then the main event, World Heavyweight Championship match, Drew Galloway going up against Matt Hardy. Matt Hardy was accompanied by Tyrus, formerly Brodus Clay, for all you WWE buffs out there, and Rockstar Spud. Winner of the match, and still the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, it is Drew Galloway. Drew Galloway, with the submission hold, wins it. Fight of the night, 3.5 to 4 stars. Entertaining match that was true to the Matt Hardy character in that he had all sorts of ploys to steal the title from Galloway. Overall, very good show. 7.5 out of 10. Long, there was some great talking there was some long talking segments and only 4 bouts, but never lost interest because the talking segments were mostly good and one of the better efforts I've seen from TNA in a bit. So it was definitely a solid 7.5 out of 10 for that. So what's going to happen tonight? In-ring segment with the Hardys. Beer Money will be defending the TNA World Tag Team Championships in a 4-way match against the Decay. Of course, you know who that is, Crazy Steve and Abyss. The newly reunited Bromans, Robbie E. and Jesse Goddard, and Bram and Eric Young. That's a 4-way match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. A Knockouts in-ring segment with Maria Kanellis and the new Knockouts champion Jade. Watch out for former Smashing Pumpkins frontman Billy Corgan. Of course, you all know Billy Corgan is now an authority figure in TNA, and I think he's been doing a phenomenal job with that. DJ Z going up against X Division champion Trevor Lee. This is a non-title bout, so I think you already know who's going to win that. Here's an interesting match. The Miracle, Mike Bennett, going up against Ethan Carter III. Now that should be an interesting matchup there. In-ring segment with Al Snow, which is going to get interrupted by Mahabali Shera. Yeah, there's nothing to speak of there. A Knockouts title match. This was the match made by Billy Corgan. Jade's going to have her first Knockouts title defense against a former Knockouts champion in her own right, Madison Rayne. And in the main event, TNA World Heavyweight Champion Drew Galloway and Jeff Hardy going up against Matt Hardy and Tyrus. So that is tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern on Pop TV. Word of warning. You have to watch this show at that time, because if you miss it, well, you're out of luck. Because it was announced today that the replays of Impact Wrestling will no longer be airing on the same night at midnight. If you miss this show, I hate to tell you this, don't shoot the messenger here. If you miss this show tonight, you're gonna have to wait until 11:30 Saturday morning to catch the replay, because they moved it to 11:30 Saturday morning. So that came out today. That's news to me. I'm not happy about that, but it is what it is. So word of warning. If you can't watch it because there's something else you want to watch or whatever, DVR, people. Simple as that, DVR. So that's certainly what I'm going to be doing. So because I'm not waiting until Saturday, no way. So that's that. So I just wanted to just put that out on the forefront for all of you. So all right, so that's it for the TNA portion of it, and now we're going to wrap up with my brief thoughts on our last SmackDown. Of course, the last SmackDown was taped at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, Lexi Country, if you will. We had an in-ring segment with the World Heavyweight Champion Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, basically a promo there. Segment of the night. I thought it was a very good opening promo. It didn't overstay its welcome. Both guys got their points across, and then that was that. So, very good segment. Next up, we had kicking off the wrestling matches, the in-ring debut of former NXT World Tag Team Champions Aiden English and Simon Gotch, better known as the Vaudevillains. Now we all remember the Vaudevillains, of course. Simon Gotch and Aiden English of the Vaudevillains. They went up against the Luchas, and it was the Vaudevillains who picked up the win via the Whirling Dervish. Solid match. Not the fight of the night by any means, but I'm going to give it a solid 2 to 2.25 stars for the effort. Maybe even teetering on 2.5. Next up, we had a Divas match. Unfortunately, this was a typical ho-hum Divas fight, as it was Natalya going one-on-one with Summer Rae. Natalya wins via the sharpshooter. Like I said, typical ho-hum diva fight, absolute dud. One of the worst fights of the night, if not the worst fight of the night. Next up, Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship rematch, Miz with Maurice, his wife, against Zack Ryder. Winner of the bout and still Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion. It was The Miz via the skull-crushing finale after a thumb to the eye. One of the top fights of the night. 2.5 to 3 stars is my effort. Fun match for the most part. Then we had Apollo Crews going up against Curtis Axel. Of course, Apollo Crews wins that. Absolute dud. Worst, another one. I mean, I could say co-worst fight of the night, along with that Natalya squash of Summer. And then a very good backstage interview with Becky Lynch, which I thought was very good. Dean Ambrose went up against Tyler Breeze. Yeah, I think we all know who won that. It was Dean Ambrose with the Dirty Deeds. Another dud. Another one of the worst fights of the night. It was basically a showcase for Ambrose. And then the main event, you had AJ Styles and Cesaro against Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho. AJ Styles and Cesaro with the win, which it was AJ Styles. Unfortunately, he won it with a roll-up because of a distraction by Sami Zayn. But other than that, this was the fight of the night, 3.5 stars. And overall, I would say not one of the better efforts, probably about a 5.5 out of 10, basically, for this show. It was an okay show. I mean, it wasn't the worst, but it wasn't the best either. So that's basically all there is to say about that. So, all right. So that's going to put the bow on this edition of the Wrestling Forum. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. Of course, it's going to be the shout-outs coming up. So we're going to start it off with, whoever wants to start it off. I mean,
I'll start it off.
all right. But save me
We
for
normally
last,
would.
so then I can do my shout-outs and then set up some very interesting future content, including the return of the New York Rangers roundup of myself and MF. So Bullock, it's all yours.
All right, of course, shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to support our shows, whether it's this or Strictly Sports. It really doesn't matter. Of course, shout outs, of course, to our super fans. Of course, we thank you once again for once again joining us here for the Wrestling Forum. Of course, to Lexi as well for joining us as well. And of course, also to Kevin Woodson and Matt Ward and Jason Hicksonbaugh. And of course, shout outs to all of our friends from our high school days, Al Britterson, Jimmy Alden, Rob Parsons, Eric Carrier, Tom Souza, the First Lady of the Wrestling Forum, Megan Silva, the First Lady of Strictly Sports, Kaisa Butler. So yeah, that's pretty much going to do it for me. I'll save the rest of my shout-outs Friday night on Strictly Sports. So until then, this is the Phenom Mike Bullock saying thank you all so much for tuning in. Of course, you know the routine. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. So that being said, I'm just going to toss it up to Fletch.
I guess it's yeah, okay.
Yeah, you.
Well-
I just tossed it to you.
All right. No doubt about it. Special thanks to all the great fans out there. You guys are the best fans in the world. Also, special thanks to all the super fans. You guys know who you guys are. Junior high school days, 2184 crew. Special shout out to my homeboy Anthony Danilo. Happy birthday to your boss. And I got nothing else to say. The Ranger Roundup is back Wednesday night after Game 1. Pittsburgh Penguins, New York Rangers. Ooh, this is gonna be a rough series, but we're gonna set it up. So we'll see you then. Until then, Mike Fletcher, you know the routine. Hugs and hand pounds. I'm out. Good night. If any of you ladies like to jump in, go right ahead.
Well, I'll say special to
This is not gonna
several friends on Twitter. Jeremy, Shad, of course Matt Ward, and a friend that both Lexi and I have named Tony. Also, I want to give a special shout out from here to heaven to my mom, because today would have been her 95th birthday. I miss you, Mom. It's been 12 years. I hope you're proud. Next.
Well, I guess that tosses it to me. I want to thank everybody on my Facebook. Shout out to all of you who have been tuning in, to my fabulous friends, even if I'm not going to be here. Shout out to all my school people who have started watching this. And I think that's going to wrap it up for the Lunatic Inmate. Take it away.
Yeah. Normally the docket for Friday night Strictly Sports is usually typed up, but Derek Ferreira did a video, and I'm trying to watch it. But I understood most of it for the most part, so I'm going to get into that in just a moment. So, all right. So special shout out to all of our tremendous fans and viewers out there who continue to make the Wrestling Forum and Strictly Sports as ridiculously over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, special shout outs to the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson, and the Hardcore Queen, Lexi Calloway, for joining us once again. I mean, they continue to be a big hit here on the Wrestling Forum, and, like DDP once said, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. A very good thing, believe me. So, please, keep up the great work. Keep up the great work, ladies. You're doing great. So, we love having you here. So that's the best part. So special shout outs to them, and of course Dee Dee Whitson. Of course, as always, special shout outs to you and Kevin and the kids and the rest of the family. Hope all is well with you folks over there. Of course, our other fans, our other super fans and insiders, like Matt Ward, who's got some big Stanley Cup playoff aspirations of his own, as his defending champion Chicago Blackhawks will be opening up against the St. Louis Blues on Wednesday night. So we'll see if they can defend their cup successfully or not. We'll see. So best of luck to Matt Ward. I know he's going to be nervous watching that. Our other superfan and insider, Jason Hicksonbaugh. Of course, our original First Ladies, Megan Silva and Kaiser Butler. And, of course, our new ladies of the forum, Dee Dee Woodson and Lexi Calloway. Of course, all of our other friends from our school days, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, Rob Parsons, and, of course, last but not least, our inspiration, the hardcore pipe bomb, Derek Ferreira, the man who put this all together. So special shout out to him as he continues with his sports blog commitments. And, of course, I'll save the rest of my shout-outs for Friday night on Strictly Sports, including a very special shout-out from my heart for some special people in my life. So because they have a big event coming up this weekend, which I'm very much looking forward to. So I'll get into that on Friday night at the end of the show. Okay, future content. Very interesting future content. As you heard from Michael Fletcher just a moment ago, he and I are coming back for our third year of the New York Rangers Roundup. I'm not sure what the time is. Do you have a time yet, Fletch? Is there a certain time you want to do it?
Well, normally in the past we've always done it immediately following the game. So the way that it looks like, maybe 10:30, 11 o'clock. Hopefully, once we narrow it down, I say just keep your eyes posted on Facebook and Twitter. Once we get the final in, then normally within that half hour, we'll probably have something up.
Okay, so maybe right around 10 or 10:30 or so.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay, so this Wednesday night, Michael Fletcher and myself on Fletcher's channel, Braves Fan 95, the return of our New York Rangers Roundup. We're gonna, basically, for anybody who doesn't know, who may not be familiar with our Ranger Roundup concept, it's very simple. We're going to do our recap of each Ranger playoff game for as long as they're in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And we'll start it off on Wednesday night, Game 1 against the Pittsburgh Penguins at Energy Console Arena in Pittsburgh. Me and Fletch, we're basically going to channel our inner Gary Thorne and Bill Clement on this one. Or nowadays, a team that I like to see someday, Doc Emmerich, and he's basically going to be the Doc Emmerich, and I'm going to be the Barry Melrose here. He's going to be, the play-by-play guy. I'm going to be the color analyst, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I've enjoyed doing the Ranger Roundups for the last couple of years, and year 3 already. I cannot wait. The last 2 years have been very good to us. 2014, they had that miraculous Cinderella run to the finals, and then last year going to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. So hopefully lightning will strike thrice for us. And hopefully it gets us to the Cup Finals, and this time to the Promised Land. Pray, but I don't know. It's going to be, and Fletch, you said it. It's going to be a very difficult. This will be our most difficult road to the Cup yet. If we get by Pittsburgh, then we very most likely have to deal with those pesky Capitals again, and I'm scared to death. And then if we should somehow, some way get by them, then anybody's guess in the conference finals, and then from there. So, but we'll see. We just got to take it one step at a time. So that's Wednesday night, 10 or 10:30, Ranger Roundup, myself and Fletch, recapping Game 1 against the Penguins. And then Friday night on Strictly Sports, we're going to preview the Stanley Cup playoffs in the first round. We'll also preview the NBA playoffs in the first round. We're also going to have the debut of our Major League Baseball power rankings. So we'll see where Dee Dee Woodson St. Louis Cardinals wind up. We'll see if any of our other teams wind up on it. So that's all there is to say about that. And I'm not sure what else there is on the docket. Derek posted a pretty lengthy video about it. It was about a 6.5-minute video, but I remember as I was watching it just now, he was saying Stanley Cup playoff preview, NBA playoff preview, Major League Baseball power rankings. And we also had a crazy weekend in sports. Manny Pacquiao went up against Timothy Bradley and got a measure of payback on him from that fiasco 4 years ago, as everybody remembers. That infamous video that me, Derek, and Fletch did. Oh boy, did we have fun with that. One of our highest rated videos of all time, by the way. And then, of course, what happened at the Masters with Jordan Spieth with that epic collapse. And a newcomer by the name of Danny Willett went on to win it. I mean, we might get into that. I don't know. I'm not really a golf guy, as everybody knows, but we'll wait and see on that. So I posted the video on my Facebook page, so check it out. It was a 6.5 minute video. Derek Ferreira releasing the docket for this Friday Strictly Sports, but that's all I can give you for now. So that's that. So Wednesday Ranger Roundup, Friday Strictly Sports. And then Saturday will be another Ranger Roundup, Michael Fletcher, because as you know, Game 2 is Saturday. It's going to have to be Saturday night because I got a family get-together in the afternoon, a very special one, if I do say so myself. So we'll work that out, I'm sure. And then, of course, next Monday night, the Wrestling Forum. So there you go. So there's your future content. So yes, indeed, Lexi. A very special shout out to the men and women of the United States Army, both here and overseas. Absolutely. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention that. So well done indeed. So we salute you in the immortal words of Carmen Sandiego for whenever anybody captured Carmen Sandiego herself. So that's what they always used to say. We salute you. So that's all there is to say. God bless you. That's all there is to say about that. So all right. So that'll put the bow on this edition of the Wrestling Forum. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. So until Wednesday night for the return of the Ranger Roundup with Fletcher and myself. You've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on YouTube.com, right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. You know that routine by now. So until then, it's Ridiculously Over Anthony Florio, for the Cerebral Viper Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, for the Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson, and the Hardcore Queen and Ambrose Asylum inmate Lexi Calloway. That's it. So until Wednesday night for the Ranger Roundup, you've been watching the Wrestling Forum right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And for now, Anthony Florio here. So long.